So pretty much like when you think of like external monetization, right, there's a couple of things that can be done. What I think most interestingly is like, okay, like number one, you can look at sponsorships, right? Sponsorships are a little bit harder. You need like a big viewer base. If you have like less than 1,000 subscribers, then like you can't really do sponsorships. Another big one is like ebooks in terms of like these channels that we're talking about. And then there's like consulting or like services, right? But if it's like, Face's channel or like AI avatar channel, you generally won't look at consulting or services. Ebooks is like pretty easy in order to in order to set up, right? So this is like one of the things that we're going to look at setting it up. Typically, like kind of like the price point of this is like $27 to $47, right? And it's like solves one problem for the customer immediately, right? And like one of the reasons like why ebooks is like so good and like it's actually like really it's one of the faster ones to set up is because like, okay, like you can pretty much use AI to create. Of course, you want to make sure that the information is like good, right? If the information is bad, then it's like, okay, like there's no point in creating the ebook. There must be some kind of like new information that you're presenting to the marketplace. And also it's like, because you can use AI to create it, you can create it like relatively fast, right? Website, you can use AI to create it these days. And it's very like a low commitment to get money from the viewer, right? And because it's like lower commitment, you don't exactly have to like deliver like a whole suite of services. You can pretty much get like a commitment from the viewer like pretty easy. And then also like you can get those emails and then you can like upsell to like other products, right? Assuming these products are like actually solve problem for like the customer, right? And like that's like obviously that's like big prerequisite to like all of this. So let me pull this up. So like an example of like ebook that you want to have is this. Let me just share my screen. It's something like this that you want to create. So for example, this is like for example a survival guide, right? Where you can see it looks something like this, where it's like, okay, you have an introduction to the book, right? You have like a cover to the book, you have an introduction to the book, right? You have the content page, right? And then you have cover page, and then you have like images, and you make sure that you are that you go over everything. There's like nice sections, there's good copy, there's supporting images to make it like easier to understand, to make it look like an actual book, right? And for example, this is like 50 pages long, and like pretty much you can almost like I'll put together like a full SOP into how to create this, and I'm going to present this on Thursday on the call. But pretty much you can kind of see that this goes over like all the concepts. It's like very nicely structured, and like the copy is all written in AI. And of course you'll want to make sure to do like deep research to make sure that the content is good and the content is different. But I think something like this took like 10 hours to put together. Like 10 hours sounds like a lot, but previously it would take like way longer. But like 10 hours in terms of like the AI just cranking on its own, right? So this is not like 10 hours of manual work. It's probably closer to like 1 hour of work, but it took 10 hours to like put all this together, right? And if this looks a little bit complex, I'll break it down into kind of its base parts today, and then we'll go over a couple of best practices on Thursday. I just want to kind of introduce ideas like this into like your realm, so that you can kind of understand like, okay, like, hey, this is like something that's possible, and kind of like get you cranking on ideas to put this together, right? So in terms of like how we actually put this together, there's a couple of things, right? There's like a couple core concepts, right? You can see with like any ebook, obviously like putting together an ebook is like the most important part, right? Is you want to look at, in terms of structure, right? There's the cover page, there is the content page, you have your introduction or like a prelogue, and then you have your chapter 1, chapter 2, until like chapter 8, whatever, right? And then the process pretty much goes as follows, right? For your cover page, right? This should be using Nano Banana or whatever like image model, like image 2 model, ChatGPT image in order to create it. And then the rest of this, like the real sauce is that you want to bring everything through a couple processes. So like, okay, while you are writing this, right, the very first thing that you want to do is like, this is exact same with a YouTube script, right? The first thing that you want to do is you want to research, right? So you'll want to make sure to do like deep research so that you get all the sauce that you need. Number 2, you'll want to outline. Yeah, you're gonna want to outline everything, right? And then you're gonna want to write the outline, and then you'll want to humanize it, and then you'll want to source for images, humanize, edit, edit for simplicity, and then you'll want to source for images, right? So that it actually looks good, right? And if you take and like you want to do this for like each chapter, okay? So like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, you're gonna want to like do all of